everyone. I hope you've had a good week, and I hope you've enjoyed finishing the Hunger Games. This week we're going to move into the road, and you'll get a lesson tomorrow to go with the other information you have. But I wanted to talk about your papers a little. I finished grading them today. I am sorry that I finished them so late. I was moving this week, and it took up a little more time than I thought. So normally I try to have grades done by Friday, Saturday at the absolute latest. And this week was just a little bit later, and I apologize. There are a lot of good things in your papers. You guys have great ideas. You have great ideas. They're solid. They are definitely analytical. They're not based in opinion, which is fantastic because it's so easy to get lost in that based in opinion idea, and you can't really argue opinions. These are really solid arguments, and I appreciate that. A couple things I wanted to address that I saw throughout the papers. And granted, this is not across the board, but these are some issues I saw in multiple papers. And while you all have received individual feedback, I wanted to give you this feedback as well as a whole. First of all, make sure you read the assignment carefully. I had several students not write about the popularity of the novels. This is important. We're in a class, popular contemporary fiction. And so we're definitely focusing on the popularity of fiction, on the popularity of these particular novels. What makes them popular? What about them makes them popular? Why do they resonate with us? And a lot of you missed that. And that's okay in the sense that this is the first paper. But it is clearly outlined within the assignment outline for this paper. So please make sure that you read that and double check it before you submit. That's really useful. The other thing I saw was a lot of you will use good quotes and good examples from the paper, from the novel, and that's fantastic because you need to find good, solid examples to prove your point. However, a lot of you just leave them hanging there. What I mean by that is it's just shoved into the middle of the text, and there's nothing framing it that really breaks up the flow of the reading for the reader. It also can break up your flow as a writer. So what you need to do is you need to do two things. The first one is to introduce it. When I say introduce it, I mean let us know either give us information about the scene leading up to it, or say, in this chapter of The Hunger Games, Katniss has a revelation while she's sitting with Rue, and she realizes Gale his ravings were correct and right, and you can go into it that way. And then provide your quote. It allows us to get some grounding so we know, okay, we're transitioning into this idea. The other thing you need to do is provide critical commentary. This might be a confusing idea, but it's easy to mess up. There are two kinds of commentary we tend to do: plot commentary and critical commentary. Plot commentary is where we just say something about the book. Katniss lays flowers all around Rue. It's a fact. No one can argue with that fact. It's there in the book. It's not arguable. Critical commentary takes the fact in the book, Katniss strews flowers all around Rue, and changes it. It gives it some analysis. It gives it some argument. By placing flowers all around Rue, Katniss is showing us that she will not succumb to the Capitol's idea of entertainment, and that Rue is not a pawn, that they are not pawns. There we take the plot comment, what happens within the story, and then we take our analysis that ties back to our thesis and theme, and we create a really strong piece of information. So how does this work? After you utilize your quote, which you guys are picking really good scenes from books, so I'm really happy about that. After you use your quote or your scene that you're utilizing, you need to then connect it to your argument. Remember, your readers don't necessarily have the same argument you have. Three of us can read the same book and we'll all take different things out of it because we come to a book with our own experiences and our reading experiences and our life experiences. I've had students, and I think I had some in this batch of papers, who looked at things very differently than I did. And it probably has to do with our experiences. And also how we read it and what emotion we were reading at the time of it. All these little things come together and inform our opinions. So when you're writing an analysis, you have to explain to readers why this scene is indicative of your thesis. What about this scene shows your point? Why is this scene, why is this quote, why is this important? That is your goal. So after you provide a quote or a scene, do not just move on to the next paragraph. Give us a sentence, give us 2 sentences that link it thoroughly. This particular scene where Haymitch falls all over when Katniss is standing up at the reaping really gives Katniss a time to put on a new persona. And by doing that, we see that she is smart and intelligent, and she's able to figure out what she needs to do to survive, which is evident of her survival personality, right? So it's taking that quote where we see Haymitch falling all over and Katniss getting time to collect her thoughts, but then it's explaining why this is relevant to our topic. So don't forget to do that. That's really important. The last thing I want to comment on about, at least as far as strengthening your papers, is purely the fact that look at your quotations, look at your citations. A lot of people were using APA, and that's probably what you learned in another class, but in English classes we'd always use MLA formatting. MLA formatting is basically similar to APA. There's a few differences, but make sure you do them correctly. If you're unsure of anything, if you go back to the Purdue OWL, you can see proper MLA citations. If you check out the module overview in the module of the week we're doing, you will see citations at the bottom that show you proper MLA. Okay, so make sure you do that. Oh, and there's one more thing I saw. I saw it in several papers, and you want to avoid that. Do not put information you get from the text in italics. I think what some of you are doing is to separate it from the regular text. But the problem is when we quote something, we quote the exact formatting the author uses. We quote if they're using regular text, italic text, bold text. If you feel the need to emphasize something within the quote, you can italicize it and then put in brackets emphasis added by writer, emphasis added by author, or emphasis added in later, depending on what's there. Do not italicize the entire thing, because it's not actually the true way the author wrote it. So please be careful with that. But like I said, your papers were really strong. I see a lot of good stuff happening in them. Please pay attention to the comments I wrote on the paper. Sometimes they're just comments that something you said makes me want to respond. I think someone wrote about gender stereotypes in Hunger Games, and it made me think of a few ideas that I felt the need to put there. Those little comments don't affect your grade. They're just things to get you to think more. A lot of people I commented about the title. It's more just getting you in the path to write a stronger title. Again, that doesn't affect your grade. It's more something to think about to make your papers even stronger. But look at all my comments. Also, when you open up the rubric, I put comments beneath each section on the rubric. So please read those. They're relatively broad, but they let you know exactly where I think the problem is. That can make your paper so much stronger. Like I said, though, your papers were good. They were strong. You had a lot of really good stuff in them, and I really enjoyed reading them. I'm looking forward to reading your Milestone 1 papers. I know the Milestone 1 can be a little bit hard, and even Milestone 2, because we've not read both books. By Milestone 2, we've read 2.5 of the books, so that makes it a little bit easier. And then the paper's not due till week 7, so you have some time to kind of build that a little more. So when you post this week, if you haven't finished your discussion post, please do that. They're small grades, but they can affect your grade. I've seen it happen before, so please make sure you post those. It's really important. Well, I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday, and I will talk with you soon.